$390 on this trade right here. Let's watch as this is a trade took on Friday and posting this a day later. Price leaves our channel. It runs back up, and what we've seen is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be now 5 candles in a row that are red. So we wanted to have an aggressive entry on this trade. My fill wasn't the best. It should have been about a point or two higher. So we made it a little more on this, but fell pretty quickly. Price fell to 3 and change, pulls back a little, and it ends up being about a $390 trade. And you can see on our 5-minute chart that we have a ton of selling volume. And so this was a simple, easy, quick one for us to capture. I'll see you in the next one. All right, so trade 2 on the day was a really good one, but we entered way too soon. So this is going to be a longer video if we end up on the YouTube with this one. We have a long forming trade that I see very clearly. However, price doesn't react the way I thought it would. So what we end up having is a big candle up, a nice pullback. We get a tremendous entry. And to tell you the truth, the reason that this trade ended up working out in the first place was because the entry was so good. So we enter and we're immediately up about 300 bucks or so. 345, 375, and then price begins to pull back and it dances in this region for a few minutes. So I had to cut down a little bit of the earlier part of the video. So this whole entire thing is the exact pace that we went at. But essentially, price just dances and it takes quite a while for it to get exactly where we want it to. So it's going to range in this area here, and I'm going to skip ahead in the video and get closer to the end where price begins to really push out. And then once we get that confirmation that buyers have stepped into the market and that we're getting that run, I want to hold here, and we end up getting about 570. So really good trade. Took a little longer than I thought, but ended up working out in our favor. I'll see you in the next one. We ended up making $915 on this trade. Now here's what happened. We had price start to run up, okay, started to make like higher lows, so price is just consistently stacking. We have price pull back a little bit, we enter the trade. Now, technically we don't want to trade inside of the channel as it can get quite choppy, but this is one that I really wanted. It was an aggressive trade. We had price reversing off of a low. Now price immediately runs up, and when you see something like that, there are only two things that are going to happen. Price is going to yank back down, which I was prepared for if I exit the trade, or it's going to continue to sky up. So we were up about 315 and we kind of just huddled right there for a while. And then eventually price gets to and then through our take profit zone. And we are able to capture quite a nice profit here. And one of the things on this trade that I wanted to really emphasize was holding long enough to capture. Could have made almost $1,000 on this trade if I leveraged it a little more, but got a really nice exit. It was a really good trade. All right, so another solid trade here, but with this one it's a little bit different. So we had price crashing down in the early morning. It then begins to reverse back up. Now, when that happens, I'm looking for all of these longs. We end up making like 1,500 bucks just off of this one move alone, right? It's a really good morning. Now with this trade though, what I was looking at was price to continue its upward movement. It hadn't seen any reason why it couldn't do that. And so I took a long as price pulled back after making like a new high relative to what we had just seen. Okay, so there are 3 candles in a row that had now basically rejected the same point, our take profit zone. So my entry was perfect, and it kind of saved me here because what ended up happening is price came back down and went down. I got up about 210 and I exited the trade, and you'll see that here in just a second. But then for the rest of for the next move, it completely ran down. So sometimes you're going to win trades by just managing them well, by entering well and exiting maybe a little bit before you want to. But that's ultimately going to save your account, and that's what I did with this trade here. So super solid trade, made good money, but took us, it wasn't the move we were looking to capture. Let's see the next one. Another textbook trade here. We have price running down out of our channel, downtrend, and we have price reversing back up. Now, what I was using in this trade in the beginning was a limit order. I wanted to see price reverse back to my level. I'd actually missed it on the previous candle. I got a little bit too excited and wanted to see price reverse a little higher, so I missed it, but I was able to get in on this candle. Now, the most amount of money I was up in this trade was about at the beginning. I think it was 315 or 375, something like that. 330 it looks like. And then from there, price really didn't do a whole heck of a lot. We actually ended up managing this trade out and made about 225 on this one. So really quick and easy and good trade. It just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. But point still stands. Price pulled outside the channel. That's what we're looking for. We then wait for price to reverse. We get that. And I don't think we could have gotten a better entry for this trade. We could have just gotten out a little bit better at the bottom of the candle. So again, super solid trade. Really excited one here. And price ended up continuing at that downtrend for the rest of the day, but we weren't able to capture a whole heck of a lot of value beyond that. I'll see you in the next one. Now this was a pretty cool trade. So this is actually following the previous video I just made or just posted. The very next candle we took a short as well. Price was really beginning to chop in this region. Price went lower, it would roll back up, we would take a short. That was kind of the process for this point. So same thing happens here. Price rolls up real nicely and we get in probably a point or two too soon, but you can quickly see that this thing runs into 400 bucks of profit pretty quick. We end up closing out at about $555 of profit on this one. Quick trade. Most people think scalping is about getting in and out of trades really fast, and that's partially true. The biggest thing about scalping is your entry has to be precise. And on this trade, I got maybe the most perfect entry I could have asked for on a trade here. We entered with maybe a quarter point too early, and price hits our level and immediately rejects. We're basically calling the market's bluff that price is going to reverse all the way back up after having such a strong downtrend. And so we end up making about 600 bucks on this trade pretty quick, and I mean, our entry was just spot on there. Here's another perfect scalp. So we have price trending down, and you can see on the 1 minute chart on the left side, every single candle has a top wick up and then price pushes down. So a very strong downtrend. Buyers step in, market, once price go down, everybody sells. So what we do here is we wait for price to reverse back up into our sell zone here. Happens pretty quick. We get about a half a point in too early, but still perfect entry essentially. And then price ends up flying down. Now it takes a second. I almost get out of this trade a little bit too soon. So thank heaven I didn't. But we're up about 210, 195. I'm thinking about exiting, and then price proceeds to just run. So we end up getting about a 570 on that trade. Solid trade.